Everybody. My name is Josh Levinson. I'm from Artistic Tile, based out of Secaucus, New Jersey, and I'm one of the members of the steering committee for the MIA's New York Metro chapter, which we just formed last summer and have been having various events. This event, we have Lisbeth Calandrino here who will speak to us about sales and customer service, various topics. Before I introduced her, I just wanted to go over, make everybody aware of some of the events that we have coming up. I'm not texting while talking, I'm not here. We do have April 17th, there's New Jersey Stone Summit, which will take place at MSI in Edison. It's an all-day Stone Summit, really geared towards fabricators, anybody who's involved with natural stone. Really a lot of great content. You can register for that event through the Marble Institute of America. This is part of a program that they do all across the country, and they've allowed us to partner with. So Tony Malasani, who's the president of the MIA, will be there for that event. Then we have some other events that we're working on. In May, we're looking to do an OSHA event, which I know for some of us, just the thought of an OSHA event is pretty unappealing. The idea with an event like that would be to bring in an OSHA expert or an OSHA employee who will speak to us, in a neutral setting, where you can kind of ask your questions and understand what are some of the shop safety issues that you have to be concerned with, and with some of the proposed changes in the crystalline silica that are going on, definitely a pertinent topic. In July, we're working on putting together a geology type event where we'll have a geologist who will teach us about different stone varieties, so certainly pertinent again for fabricators, distributors, anybody who's involved with natural stone. And lastly, for September, we're working on putting together a several hour-long CEU event. We'll have different CEU presentations for the A&D community. We'll have different members of the chapter, perhaps some outside speakers as well, presenting the CEU topics, all on natural stone. I just wanted to take a second to allow members of the steering committee who have been involved in planning these events just to introduce themselves quickly. There's three co-chairs. Brian Cornett from Fabric Clean, who's behind the camera, and Elizabeth Jimmer from Atlas, and myself are the co-chairs. And there's other members of the steering committee, including Pete Chomzak from Dow Tile, Bree from, I won't even remember that saying, Connecticut Stone. If I missed anybody else, who else is out there from the steering committee? But any of these events, if you want to get involved in the local chapter, happy to have you involved in the planning of events. This is really about what it is that we can collectively do and draw and get the stone community here in New York together. Before we go any further, I want to take a second to thank Cosentino for sponsoring and hosting this event, and thank them for their generosity and their beautiful showroom. And we're not used to having a facility like this for a presentation so well equipped. So thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Any questions or comments on the chapter? Kind of what we're looking to do? Anything that you guys want to see? Those events that I mentioned sound interesting to you, or sound like a big bore? That's not on camera, is it?
Streaming YouTube live.
So hopefully they sound interesting to you. If not, let us know. If you don't think there are events that you want to come to, let us know so we don't go through the efforts of planning. We want to have events that are appealing to the industry at large. Let me look through my notes on Elizabeth.
Josh, I don't know if anybody realizes how involved Cosentino is with the MIA. I'm not sure if you even are aware of it or not. But we've been pretty much involved with them now for the past year and a half. We actually have donated over $100,000 to put towards safety and silicosis, things like that, in that nature, because of all the issues that have gone on in our industry. We're just trying to raise the bar for the fabricators and our true partners that are out there to try and eliminate, we all know what's going on in the industry. So we're trying to change it up a little bit. And we've donated a tremendous amount of money and resources. They've shown up at our Cosentino 100 every year at in Mexico. They do, I'm not sure of the gentleman's name, I can't remember, but he is one of our guest speakers every year. So these events that Josh has mentioned, I know that I'm going to be looking for more information. As a former fabricator, I'd like to be a part of it. I think it's important for all of us to be involved in it. And again, raise the bar for all of us. I think the safety is a very important thing. I know safety here for us, we're engaged on that. It's actually a part of my bonus. They're very, very serious when it comes to safety. And then right down to our facilities where we fabricate. So, for anybody that doesn't think it's important to attend those events, I'd have to disagree. Hopefully the lack of response is just, you just have no comment on it and you're all going to see it there. I think it's important. I just want you to understand, as a global company, how much we're involved with this organization and how important it is.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. I'd like to pass around just an attendance sheet. If your name is on the list, just please check it off. If it's not, just please write your name, company name, contact information right down on the sheet so we know how to find you. So this presentation is called The New Consumer, How Will You Keep Her on Your Radar? Lisbeth Calandrino is a high-energy, inspirational speaker who brings practical ideas that can be immediately applied to the workplace. So you can leave here tonight and go right back to work.
Absolutely.
As a business coach for the past 20 years, she's been designing workshops and training strategies for flooring retailers, distributors, and manufacturers. She combines real-life experiences and cutting-edge strategies to teach audiences how to create high-performance businesses that lead to growth and innovation. Sounds good, right?
Boy, it really does.
Innovation. Lisbeth is one of the original creators of the consumer magazine Fabulous Floors. She is presently associate publisher and director of social media. The magazine focuses on design and product. Its purpose is to help consumers make good purchasing decisions. Fabulous Floors magazine is an industry partner of ASID industry partner and distributes directly to their 14,000 members. Her award-winning book, Red Hot Customer Service, 35 sizzling ways to heat up your business and impact your bottom line, is in its second printing. Elizabeth writes business columns for Floor Covering News, Liz Biz Buzz, and a blog on success for, for something.
Albany Times Union. How's that?
Anybody read that?
We're a Hearst publication.
Phone malfunction. Anyway, I think you got the gist of it. Sure to be a great presentation. We thank Elizabeth for joining us today and being with us. And here we go.
Thank you very much. I'm laughing about, when they start reading about who you are, and then you start, going down through the years and how old you are, you want them to tell, no, just stop there. That was fine, I was in the retail business for 14 years. I had 7 carpet and furniture stores in the Albany and New York City area. My ex-business partner, you've probably heard of Jennifer Convertibles. That was our company. We took it public. But anyway, and I retired in 1990, and like a lot of people, what are you going to retire to do? Go to work. So I started back in work, and I started doing consulting in the magazine. Anyway, I'm laughing. Aaron said to me, Liz, give them some ideas about how to do business. And then I laughed about that and had a woman call me this morning from a retail group where I'm going in Chicago in a couple of weeks, and she said, don't talk about social media. We don't want to hear it anymore. So I started laughing because there isn't anything other than that. So I'm going to talk about some ways to do business. How many of you are retailers here? How many of you are retailers? Manufacturers? Distributors? Okay, so I'll tailor my presentation for all of that, and if there's anything you can't read up there, I'll read it for you. It's because we're trying to film, and we need it a little bit lighter. So let's talk about the customer. The past is like using your rear view mirror. If you look in the rear view mirror, every so often we want to glance back and we want to see what happens. I saw this cartoon the other day, and there's this woman standing in line, and she says, could somebody give me some information about what I did 30 years ago? Could I buy that here? And the guy says, what do you need it for? And she says, well, I'm trying to plan my life for the next 20 years. Here's the thing. What you did in the past may have worked in your business. The problem with it now is that the past, it's gone. And you know, we had a telephone that took 60 years to work. I don't know if you knew that. 60 years for the telephone to work. We had presidents that wouldn't use the telephone. They were still using the strings and the cans and all that stuff and delivering mail because it never worked. Now you buy a computer, right? You walk out. Is it any good? No. And you buy a phone and you say, what's the next new phone? I don't know if you saw the new phone that they're just getting ready to send out. It's 5.5 inches. Have you seen that one? And China, it's interesting. I have a client that I do business with, and he's in the United States, and he called me and he said, you have to come meet me for breakfast or something Saturday because I have some new things to tell you. And I said, are you going to tell me about that new phone you have for old people? He said, how did you hear about that? I said, well, I just, I listen to CNN all day, but there's this, the phones are getting bigger. You all know that. They're going to get bigger and bigger until they're half the size of tablets. Why? Because all of us are using our phones. How many of you use your phone for just about everything? And so we need a bigger phone because the little one we can barely see, right? And we can't find stuff on it. And you're in the back and you've got a pretty good sized phone there. Anyway, so it's hard to give up what we know. So if you just look at this for a second, social media has changed our business. It's not a fad, it's where we are now. And is it going to change? Yes. Are you trying to figure, how many of you are trying to figure out which one you should use? I went to all of your websites. I looked at your websites, I looked at your Facebook pages, I looked at your social media, your Pinterest, your house, and I looked at the complaints and all the good things customers wrote about you. Why? Because that's the only way I can tell where you are and what you're doing. So if you look, we've gone from selling to connecting. Now, this is hard for a lot of you, and it's hard for me. Listen, in the 70s, I was taught you get them in the showroom, you lock the door, and they don't leave till you sell them. How many of you know that? I'll never forget a guy in Ohio, I was doing a seminar, and he said, Ms. Calandrino, I have to tell you a couple things. First of all, you don't have to tell me how to sell, because I know exactly how you do it. Here's what I do. They come in my showroom about 11 o'clock in the morning, because I don't open before 11. In a minute, you'll know why. And he said, I bring out the liquor, and we start to drink. You know, by 1 o'clock, we know each other really well. By 2 o'clock, he can barely stand up. And by 3 o'clock, he writes me a check. Thank you, and he sits down. Now, you can't do that anymore because you'll be arrested for something for sure, right? But it is all about building relationships, and we all do it differently. And that's one of the things about social media that I want you to understand, that each of you has a way to build a community, and it's all about building communities these days. It has nothing to do with what you sell. It has a lot to do with who you are and how you present yourself to the world. Now, I do 5 blogs. I do 3 for myself, 1 for the Times Union, and I do a bunch for other people. And they're not about flooring. They're just about fun. This is really about fun, folks. And if you take this all too seriously, your blogs and your Facebook and all of that you're not going to get anything back from it. And a lot of you are using, and I don't mean just you, but you're using your social media to somehow promote yourself. That is not what it's about. When I first joined Facebook about 4 years ago, I didn't know what to do, so I told everybody about myself. You know, this is why you should hire me. I put that on Facebook. Well, I got this little instant message from this guy who said, we'd probably like you a lot better if you didn't say those things about yourself. I was like, what? I thought I was supposed to market myself. So for those of you who think it's about marketing yourself, it isn't, folks. Facebook is really about kids, apple pies, dogs, cats. My cat, Rainy Day, has huge presence, and people have hired me because they love Rainy Day. That's my cat. And because of who he is. He has books by him, he reads books, he watches TV, watches CNN, he watches Mike in the morning, he knows everything. And that's what it's about. So how do you incorporate that in your business? I'm going to tell you. So we've gone from large campaigns to small acts. We go from controlling the message to transparency. This is the age of transparency. This is when we know absolutely everything about you. Here's the problem. A lot of you don't want to be transparent. You grew up in a house where your business was supposed to be kept to yourself. How many of you know what I'm talking about? We don't let out family business. We don't want anybody to know that Uncle Joe drinks or your sister's crazy. We can't have any of that. These days, the crazier, the better. And the more transparent, the better. And we have a lot of people who don't want to do that. So I have customers that say, well, I'm not doing Facebook. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I hope I die before I have to do it. It's just about having fun. From the hard to reach to available everywhere. We know everything about you and we can find you. Okay. Many of you know you have to engage in social media. The problem with anything new is that we often use old tools to do it. So we do the same thing that we do in the newspaper and we put it on our social media pages. No, you want to change it up a little bit because here's what we know about customers. How many of you own an iPad? How many of you watch television every so often? And you sit on the couch. Here's the deal. Most people have 3 devices that they're watching at the same time when they're sitting on the couch. They're probably playing Words with Friends, somebody in Australia, or Candy Crush. Anybody here play Candy Crush? Oh, yeah. Oh, no, what? There are people, oh, everybody's playing, okay, paying. You have to do that. You have to do something like that. So now you're playing Words with Friends with somebody in Australia. You're really not watching the television because you're too busy on your iPad, because on your iPad you're watching some movie that you decided to download, and you're on your phone and you're answering it. Well, if they're doing that, what makes you think they see your commercial? They're not watching your commercial. You'll love this story. This little girl is crying and explaining to her mother about she doesn't understand what happened when she went to her friend's house. Her mother has not let her watch television at home. She downloads everything that she should watch. And when she went to her friend's house, she got to watch TV. She said, Mommy, in the middle of my show, this frog came on. And this frog, he was jumping all over. And then I saw this pig getting his picture taken. What are these things? They were TV commercials. She had never seen a TV commercial. So think about it. If you have a Roku box, or if you're downloading stuff, you're probably missing the commercials. That is why your commercials have to be funny, laughable, and put on YouTube. Do you know the second largest search engine behind Google? You know who it is? It's YouTube. People are spending 2 hours a day watching videos. You don't have to admit to it now. I was watching yesterday The Dog That Wants a Cat for Christmas. I've seen it so many times and I just howl every time I watch it. So anything you're doing, you want to think about, how do I put it on YouTube? Because everybody's into it. Now, you can't use old tools to solve new problems. I don't know, probably anybody here Italian like I am, here's a guy trying to cut the pizza with a saw. So you have these tools, but they don't fit for everything. Now, I want to talk a little bit about push and pull marketing before we talk about sales. The old selling and the old marketing was what we called push. What we did is we did an ad, and it was all about our brand awareness. We put the ad in front of the consumer, and we said, watch this. And the consumer couldn't do anything but watch it because they didn't own a remote at the time, so they couldn't change the channel. I'll never forget when I got my mother a remote. When was that? The 80s, the 70s? A TV remote? And she said to me, no, I don't need it because I'll get fat. Because this way I can get up and change the channel. I got a couple of feet to walk and then I could sit back, and I laughed about that because she was probably right about that. But now, so she watched the commercials. The other thing was all about point of sale. We wanted the customer to see everything about us. We had all these banner ads, and that was what we called push marketing. It did not involve the consumer. All the consumer was supposed to do was watch. They didn't talk back because we didn't want them to talk back. Then we went into what we call now pull marketing, and it's all about reputation management. That's what it's about. What we want are people to engage. We want them to be able to be talking about word of mouth. We want all about social media management, everything that goes on online, and your customer is involved. So anything you post and anything you sell really needs to involve the consumer. So I want to talk about, Aaron said, Liz, you have to talk about the sales funnel. I said, okay. So this was the sales funnel. You all know what I'm talking about, right? You stuff the customer in the top. We talked to them a little bit. Actually, we talked to them a lot because they had nobody else to talk to. We didn't have the internet at the time, right? We really didn't have Wikipedia. There was no place to get information except from who? The salesperson. So it was all about the sale. The customer was not in control. In 1970, we had to enact something called, what was that in the 70s? It was called it was a consumer recall about cars. Do you remember if you bought a car, you drove it out the showroom? Some of you don't even know this.
Lemon law?
A lemon law, thank you. The lemon law. Huh? That was in the 70s in the lemon law. And what happened? If your car didn't run, we set fire to it on the lawn until the lemon law. So who was in charge? Not the customer. It wasn't until after the 80s and the 90s that the customer was involved at all. Now, this is the new, if you want to take a look, this is the new funnel. If you look on the left, there's the old funnel. And notice how much marketing was a small part of the funnel. But notice, sales was huge. You controlled everything. Now, if we go look at it now, notice awareness, everything on the right-hand side, consideration, pushing the customer out is all about marketing. And sales, look at the side of sales. It is this big. So if you're thinking that how we do it is the same as we did before, no. The new salesperson has to be about marketing. You have to think of yourself as an entrepreneur, and your job is to bring in, because, you're going to see in a minute, this is what's going on. The new sales funnel, notice, everything is about marketing, social networking, everything, Facebook, MySpace, all this stuff out there is where your customer is. And if you have a blog, how many of you have a blog? I don't think there's many, if anybody has a blog in here, because I went and looked at your sites, and I think I saw somebody who had a blog. They did it once about 4 months ago, and then they said, you know, I'm not doing this anymore. And that was the end of that. But I want to talk to you about blogs, because blogs will help you get found. A lot of you are spending money on search engine optimization, right? With your IT people, and you're trying to bring customers in. If you blog, that'll keep you right on the top of the search engine, because it changes your information every couple of days. So notice your blog, and go down capturing customers, and it's all about involving your customer. Now, there are many changes. This is the age of the customer. So here's where we are, folks. We started with manufacturing in the 50s. The Fords, RCA Victor, P&G, Sony, they were the big deals in those days. Then we went into about the 60s and the 70s, and it became the age of distribution. This is when you started hearing about Walmart, because Walmart could get their stuff from here to there in no time at all. So distribution was a big deal. Now everybody distributes. You've got big trucks. You're taking stuff all over the place. But that wasn't the way it was. We then went into the 90s, was called the age of information. You all know about that. That's when we started getting phones. That's when we learned about Google and Microsoft, Capital One and Dell. Now we are into the age of the consumer. The reason I'm telling you this is because it changes how we sell. The customer wants to be involved, and they want to know everything you're talking about, and they want to be part of it. They want a dialogue. Back to our push-pull, take a look at this again. Look on the side, because this is where marketing is at this point. It's all about video, special events. How many of you do any kind of special events in your place? A woman's night out, a cigar night, wine. Only 1 or 2 of you. You need to start having events at your business. Because why? 85% of your business comes from referrals. 85%. And a lot of you aren't maximizing what we call the back end. The back end is after the customer buys. She leaves. How many of you write her a note and thank her? Look around. Nobody's thanking anybody. And what are you going to thank them for? Please don't thank them for their business. You need to thank them for their trust and loving you and wanting to be in your place. So you want to look at the back end of what you do, because once the customer is sold, she's going to decide if she likes you. Just because she bought from you does not mean she likes you, because 96% of customers never complain, they just go away. So let's say I buy from you. I buy from Artistic. Experience was okay. Do I say anything online? No. What do you need me to do? You need me to go out there and you need me to write all over the place. That's not really how it is Artistic, because I looked at some of your comments. You had great comments. You need to have the customer go out and want to put everything all over social media because your next customer will come from somewhere out there. So if you're not getting your customers to go out and write about you, to go out and talk about you, you're missing out. Because this costs you nothing, and this is how we need to do business. I have to tell you, in 2008, how many of you remember 2008? Frightening, wasn't it? How many of you remember? It was like, oh no. Did you experience some of that, 2000? It was horrible. I had a big consulting business. I had lots of big customers. Two of my biggest customers in the country went bankrupt, and I knew it was going to happen because they couldn't change quick enough. I'm sitting at home on the couch with like a third of my income thinking, what am I going to do? I don't even know what happened. I'm like everybody else. So I put an ad in Craigslist, and it said, looking for people who understand how to deal with the economy. Does anybody understand social media? That's what I put on Craigslist. 11 people answered my ad. I said, come to my house. 5 of them were unemployed, like me, sitting on the couch talking to each other. People who were big investment brokers, people in real estate, they said, we don't know. And then there were a couple of SEO guys that came that were out of business, and then there was somebody who understood social media. We started meeting. I used to call it the dumb group. It was like, what are we going to do? But I began to realize that what was changing was something I had no idea what to do. So I built my Facebook page. I put myself on Twitter. I started writing a blog. I started hiring people to help me figure out, and I wrote a book. I said, I'll write a book. What else? I'm sitting on there, I'll write about customer service. The thing I realized was that I had to change. And you know it's hard to change when what you've been doing was really working? Anybody else here? Like, who pulled the rug out? What in the world? But I said, why not? Because whatever happens to me, I'll be able to teach somebody else. But I realized at that point that somewhere along the line I had missed it. How many of you missed it? I missed it. So I had to start all over again. And it's just been a whole change, and it's all about the things on the right-hand side. You know, here I am going out. I'm going to do a brochure. I'm looking, why do a brochure? That's old stuff. Press releases, cold calling. Nobody should ever do cold calling these days. If you're not on LinkedIn, how many of you go out and have to find new business? How many of you here find new business? You want to go on LinkedIn, get yourself a profile, start a group, or belong to a group so that you can find the people that you want to meet and go to them. That's what you need LinkedIn for. Everybody who does sales needs to have a LinkedIn profile to get connected. If you have a big company, you have a lot of salespeople, they need to get a LinkedIn profile, and they need to get themselves out there so they can meet the people they need to. They should never be cold calling anybody. They should know something about them. Now, customers are taking longer to buy. Has anybody experienced this? Everybody. Now, let me explain why, because people are saying, where are they going? Well, I used to get them in the store, lock the door, liquor them up, whatever, and they buy. Here's what's changed. First of all, you're spending time trying to sell them rather than engage them. So here's what happens. Customer comes in your store, somebody talks to them, they seem like they're doing it right, and the customer says, I'll see you. Now, you're used to that. I got to go home and talk to my husband. No, they're not going home. They go back online. So if there's not a way for them to connect with you online, that's when it becomes a problem. So let's just say Brian happens to be in the showroom. He has a customer. And the customer says, I really like you, Brian. I'm thinking about you, and I'll be back. So Brian's heard this a million times. He tries to do his magic, and she says, that's okay, I'll still be back. Now, what Brian may not know is where she goes next. She goes back online. You know what she's looking for? Brian. She wants to know who Brian is, whether or not she ought to buy from Brian or somebody else, what kinds of things does Brian do, and does Brian have a profile? Now, if Brian has a profile out there, it cuts down on her problems. Because remember, if you go online and you Google marble or granite, what's going to come up for you? How many? Millions, right? Thousands, millions. Do you know where to go? No, you still don't know where to go. So there you are looking at 8 million. You're going, where do I go? Then you decide, well, maybe I'll make New York, New Jersey. Now what comes up? 90, 300, 400. Customers are overwhelmed, and they don't know how to make decisions. That's why if you have a profile online, the customer can find you, and there you are, and all of a sudden she can see what kind of jobs you've done and who you are. Now she says, okay, that narrows it down. 72% of consumers, 72, will not buy anything unless they get a referral from somebody online. 72% of consumers will not buy anything unless somebody online says, here's where you need to go. This will just give you some idea about comments and how people are connecting. So what is social media? Let's talk about it. This is how people explain social media. They say, Twitter means I'm eating hashtag a donut. Let's just say we're in the donut business, all right? Next, if it's Facebook, you write, I like donuts, because we're all into liking. And then we say Foursquare. How many of you use Foursquare? Oh, you all got businesses. You need to have Foursquare account, where the customer checks into your store, and you give her something for checking in. She becomes the mayor of your store. Do you use Foursquare? No, you don't use Foursquare. Oh, I found something you guys don't do. Okay, Foursquare. Or Instagram, here's a vintage photo of my donut. Or YouTube, here I am eating my donut. LinkedIn, my skills include donut eating. And Pinterest, here's a donut picture, a beautiful one. And I'm listening to my radio, and here is my donut sound. And on Google+, I'm a Google employee who eats donuts. That is how we explain it, but that's not how it works. Here's how it works. If you really understand social media, this is how you do it. Social media explained with donuts again. So here we go. Twitter, what is your favorite hashtag donut? What are we doing? Engaging who? The customer that we're looking for. Or Facebook, upload a picture of your favorite donut and say, what do you think about this donut? That's how it really goes. Now, LinkedIn, what is the psychology of eating a donut? And last, Google+, prove that you are the biggest donut fan. The difference between the two of them, how we think what goes on and what really does go on, is the fact that in all of the social media, you engage the customer. The best thing you can do is ask a question on any of your social media. That is not what people do. They put every piece of tile they've ever had, every piece of carpet. Here, you're going to love this. Nobody loves it unless what? Unless you want to buy it. What you want to do is engage the customer before they want your product. Because when they go need the product and they say product, 8 million things come up. But they say, no, I like these people. They write about wine, and they write about their dog, and they're having a lot of fun. I want to go to that store. But it's all about asking questions. I can tell you, I put on my Facebook page, of which I have 4,800 friends, 4,900. You have to keep building them up. You take anybody who wants to be your friend and just stack them up, folks, because everybody knows somebody who can refer you, and that's what you need. You need somebody to refer you. So I put on there, where do I go for my birthday? I put that on my Facebook page. I think by now I have 78 people who wrote what I should do on my birthday. Now you're saying to me, how is that going to help you, Liz? I'm going to tell you how it helps me. Because people like me. That's all. They think I'm crazy. They think I'm fun. And then there are other people who know me that think I'm smart. And then I post all my blogs. That's what they want. They want to connect. And then I wrote something else on there last week. Somebody broke into the house behind me, and I wrote a thing about the police, the Albany police, and thank goodness they came, and I was down at the police station all morning identifying, oh, what a day it was. 55 people. Good, you're part of your neighborhood. What a terrific thing to do. What you want to do is engage people. You don't have to tell them about your product because they don't need it. When I need it, I'll find you, but you got to make yourself lovable and likable and funny, whatever is your personality, in order to get a customer, okay? Now, here is what Google, now there's an article you might want to read. It's called Google Zero Moment of Truth. It's how Google defines the shopping process. Here's what happens. The customer has a stimulus, and then they think about it. It's an awareness piece. Then we have what's called a social discovery. I go online and I go looking for something, right? A bathing suit. I'm looking for a bathing suit. I did that last year. I said, where do I find a bathing suit at my size? And there was like all these people, after they got done laughing at me, or I needed a pair of size 5 shoes, they were just laughing. Oh yeah, well, you and your size 5 shoes. And then 25 people told me where I could go buy shoes and what bathing suit. Next, what happens is my first moment of truth. I think in my mind, I think I want to buy something. So now I have to figure out, where am I going? You all know that. Think about it. If you just want to go out and you're trying to figure out an Italian restaurant, you put an Italian restaurant in New York City, do you still know where to go? No. But if you're smart, where you go next is Yelp. You go and you look and you say, what are they saying about the restaurant? Your online reputation is critical. That's what's going to get you your next customer. Because I like you, I went out and I wrote something nice about you. And I said, you're terrific. That's what you need to happen. And all salespeople need to be in. If I was selling again and I had a store with 50 salespeople, what I would do would list for them what you need to do in social media. One, you're going to ask the customer for their email. Second, you're going to ask them, what are they on social media? What do they like the best and what do they use? You want to ask your customer. Then you want to say, well, could I join you there? Would it be okay if we connected online? Because she's going to leave, and where's she going? Online to find you. And if you're out there and you have, we want to talk about building communities. You want to build a community online. Each one of you has your own community. Everybody knows what mine is. It's about the cats. We laugh about it all the time. And my cat, Rainy Day, he's like got his own thing going on. He's a big Norwegian forest cat. He's got a friend in California. He's got a friend in Ohio. It just so happened the one guy in Ohio was in the floor covering business, which was a riot. I was at a convention not long ago. A woman came up to me and said, we love your cat. I thought to myself, nobody would believe this. And I said, well, when you need training, she says, Liz, we're going to call you for goodness sakes. We like you and your cat. Would you bring him? Now, you're all laughing because you can't connect this to what you do. It's not connected to what you do. It's connected to who you are and what makes you unique. We're into unique. You know, if you said to a customer, I'm going to design your bathroom like everybody else's, what would she say? What, are you kidding me? My bathroom's got to be what? Really different and unique. And this is what everybody wants. We don't want anything like anybody else. Okay, so now, my first moment of truth is I consider the purchase. My second moment of truth is my experience, right? I go into your place, and I don't know if I have a good one, a bad one, whatever. And I go write about it, or I go home and I forget about you. And then my ultimate moment of truth is eventually I buy. And if I have a good time, I share the experience. So here's some things for you. All your customers need to post something somewhere about you. It's not about liking your Facebook page. Who cares how many people like your Facebook page? It doesn't matter. What really matters is I post on your Facebook page. I say that kitchen is the best I've ever had, and Ted is terrific, and I love him, and everybody needs to go see him. That's what you need to be done. Forget about 1 million people like your Facebook page. Who cares? What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. What means something is people that go out and say you're terrific, because what you're trying to build is loyalty. We have something called repeat and referral business. These are people who buy every so often. They come in because you run an ad. You don't need those. They're not good customers. They come in when you run an ad. They go away too. What you want are loyal customers who tell everybody that you're wonderful, you're terrific, and go to your store no matter what. That's what you're all trying to build. Now, why am I showing you this? Because here's what goes on. 7% is blah, blah, blah. You're talking and we don't care. Your website is only 25%, but content is what you need. 75%. People want you to talk about something and to write about it and to show videos about it. That's what they want. Because I want to be part of it. I want to engage. I want you to put something silly. I want to see something that's fun. I don't want to see how many floors you installed. What, are you kidding me? Only do I want to see that is, guess what? When I want a floor. Up until that time, it's just noise. But if you blog and you write about something you like, maybe it's about wine, or you blog about restaurants, or each one of your salespeople needs to have an online community for themselves. That's how they're going to build for you. They're going to go online, they're going to build a community. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how to do that. So this is one of the problems. Customer is distracted. Your job is to get them undistracted. How can you weed out everything for them and get them to love you? Because you've got to help me not be so crazy. Look, I've been trying to buy a car. I haven't bought a car in 10 years. And so I went out and put, I need a car, and you go to Carfax, and oh my goodness, I can't even get near my inbox. It is loaded with cars. Am I any further ahead than I was last week? No, I'm in worse shape because now so what do? I haven't even got time to buy a car. So I go to a friend of mine she buys cars, and what she does is she'll go out and she'll find the car. You get the car for her, she'll go out, check it out, she'll get somebody third party to look at it because I haven't found anything locally. I said to her, this is crazy. Oh, she says, I got a car for you in Illinois. We'll go have somebody look at it. They'll ship it to you. I negotiated your price. I thought to myself, remember when you used to go to the car dealer? Nobody goes to the car dealer anymore. Maybe you go when you see a car, if there is one. But if there isn't something you want, I want an older car, I know what I want. It's just crazy. I thought, this is why customers, did you know that Crest has 58 different kinds of toothpaste, and one is chocolate mint? Did you know that? I don't know what kind of toothpaste to buy. I get ones that whiten my teeth, fluoride so the teeth don't fall out. Then I got to figure out what am I going to do with the cavities. Then, did you ever look at that kind of stuff? Customers are so confused. How do they make a difference? Either there's somebody that they like that sells something they love, or there's a way they distinguish. Your job is to help them distinguish. Now, we need to start engaging. See, we're afraid if we don't control the situation, there'll be a problem. If we don't say something about ourselves, there'll be, no, it doesn't really matter. What you want to do is engage me. Just get me to like you. You got a dog? Bring your dog to work. Get your dog to talk on YouTube. There was a dog that wanted a cat for Christmas. It was the funniest video I have ever seen. And he's talking, there's a voiceover. Anybody see him? He's got a voiceover and he's saying, I want a cat for Christmas. And the owner says, well, I don't know, I went to the pound. Did you get a kitty for me? It's the dog in his mouth is going, and it's just hysterical. I'm thinking, what am I doing at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, coming back from the gym? I'm watching the dog who wants a cat for Christmas. Now, some of you are doing the same thing. It may not be the same thing, but you're doing something like that. You get exposure from just being you. This is the age of you. Now, here's the journey. Old time. Stimulus, saw it on TV, went to the shelf, either had a good experience or bad experience. Look what happens. Stimulus now. I look at ratings. I go out and see what are people saying about you. Now, here's what I noticed for a bunch of you. You don't claim your listings. I'm going to explain what that is if you don't know. Like, there are places where City Search, where you can go claim the listing. You have to go out there. I think that was one of yours. You have to go out and claim the listing, because if you don't claim the listing, nobody can leave anything about you, because City Search puts up all the businesses. And then you go out there, and I went to leave, because I think it was artistic. I went to leave a message, and it said, nobody's claimed this listing, you can't leave a message. So you want to go out and look at all those places and claim them. If you don't claim them, nobody can leave anything about you. You can also put that on your Facebook page, by the way. Do you all know that? On your Facebook page, you can put a tab that says, what do you think about us? I've got one. It says, what do you think about Liz? And if it's not nice, I just take it off. Look, you can remove anything on your page. People say, I'm afraid to put that out. Suppose they say something awful. Well, take it off. I mean, you can do that. What's the big deal? So notice, I look at ratings, I search, I look for word of mouth. 75% of consumers, 72 to 75, will not buy anything unless their next door neighbor or their good friend says you should buy it. So when you don't get a customer to post, you're missing out on your next customer. Listen, this is all free. This is all cheap. You're spending a lot of money doing marketing. A lot of you are doing TV commercials and you're doing newspaper. I'm sorry, but there's nobody watching anything. Listen, I worked for Fabulous Floors magazine. I was one of the owners and sold it 3 years ago. And I said, the woman who bought the magazine said, would you come work for me? I said, only if I get to do the social media. Only if I get to do that. Otherwise, I am not interested. Oh, she says, oh, goodness gracious, yes, please do that, because we need to figure it out. So we do tons of stuff online. We have a lot of digital advertising. We make sure that 3 or 4 times a year we put up digital issues. We don't even do a print. And we're in Barnes & Noble. It's not like nobody knows us, but I don't think anybody does know us. Who knows? Okay, shelf. Notice I get into your, look, notice where I am. I'm in your store. And there's my experience. It's happy or sad, right? And notice, where do I go back? I go back online because I'm trying to figure out if you're the right person. I had 500 million places to go, and I don't know if I really should be with you, because I didn't see anything that said, you're the best people in town. My next door neighbor, I'm going to tell you this cute little awful story. I was doing some training, and we were talking about this, and this woman said, I need to say something. I'm a designer here, and we do a lot of business in New York. And I said, yes, you do. And she said, well, I was working with a woman, and I thought we were doing okay. And the woman says, why should I buy from you? And I said, because don't I have the right stuff for you? I mean, we're doing good, aren't we? And she was like, kind of like scared for a minute. And the woman says, I don't know, but you're online. I've seen stuff about your company online that is awful. And you're not anything like that. You're really nice. She said, we need to fix our reputation. I said, I guess you do. If you've got customers down, here's the thing. You all want to make sure that you get at least one customer a week that writes something really nice about you. One of the reasons they don't write is they don't know how to do it. You may have to show them, because like if it's Yelp, you have to get an account, right? So it's kind of hard. Make it easy. Put it on your website, put it on your Facebook page where you can leave a comment. All they have to do is leave a little thing that says, I was there, it was terrific. And I see 4 or 5 of those and I'm coming to your store. It helps me figure out which Crest toothpaste I need, because I have to figure out how am I going to separate you from everybody else, right? Now, so I've got some things here, how to maximize your salespeople. We know that customers are taking longer, right, to buy, and it's because salespeople need to be better marketers. That means you need an online community for yourself where you can just post who you are. And let's start, you need a Facebook page for yourself that says what you do for a living, and it needs to be linked back to your company so that people, now, the company may decide, okay, we'll tell you what we want you to write. We're going to decide what the parameters are about that. But you need to market the people who work for you, your salespeople, okay? Now, remember, much of the selling's been taken care of for you, right? I mean, where do customers find out about products these days? Where do they find out? Online. So if your showroom is so big that the customer comes in and goes, oh no, I got to start all over again. First question you want to ask the customer, did you see us online? That's your first question. Second question is, where have you looked online? You've got to know what they've seen before you. Because if you don't know, you're going to take them through the same process. They're going to get bored and they're going to say, I can't believe I'm doing this again. They're making me work hard. Ask them, what did you see online? Did you see us online? If you haven't, let's look online. Because if you're going to take them through a showroom and start them all over again, they're just going to say, this is just so much work, I got to go home. So you may be wearing your customer out. Next, salespeople need to build what we call long tail. Long tail means that you have a following. It's like your tail. There's people behind you. They love you. They post on your page. They're going to put the picture of their kitchen on your page or on your company's page, and they're going to say lots of nice things about you. You installers, I was talking to, right? Okay, here, you want to make sure you get plenty of pictures of the jobs you do, and you want to post them on your page, because all you're looking for are better customers and better jobs, right? Listen, all you want are better customers with a lot more money, because there's only 2 kinds of customers these days, one with money and one without. And it's getting worse. You've got to have high end. How will you get high end? By making sure that you are out there and they see you. So take pictures of those beautiful things you do. Talk about it. Explain how you did it. Maybe you can take pictures of what it was like before, when you ripped it out. But you've got to be out there, and people have to see you, okay? If you want recommendations, look, how many of you want to go to a restaurant? What do? You call a friend. You say, where do I go eat tonight? Tell me where you go. That's how you go. It's the same thing with everybody else. So if you're not making sure you get this part, you're going to lose out, okay? Now, we call this social proof. So social proof is getting others to say you're good, okay? We look at what others do, and if we like it, we say, I'll do that. It's kind of like our own little insecurity, like, okay, you really like it, and I really like you, and so that means it's probably what? For me. It's good for me, and it's a shortcut. I don't have to worry about it too much. Maybe I follow you on Twitter, and you give advice, and I say, oh, okay, that's good. I don't need to do any more work because the world is overwhelming. It used to be you went in one car dealer and you bought a car. Now you go ask for a car, and I get people sending me notes from all over. Hi, this is Charlie from Nebraska, and I have that car. And I'm looking, I'm going, all I want is a car. This is like so much work, you know. You don't need all this work. We ask for advice from our friends. We ask for advice from everybody. We have plenty of room. We've been waiting for you. Okay? Now, Have salespeople ask customers to join them on social media. So you want to say to the customer, what are you on social media? What's your favorite? Ask them the question. Ask if they'll join you, because after they leave your store, they're going back online to check you out. If they can't find you, they are no better off than they were before, and that is why it takes them so long to buy. They want this social proof, the long tail. They want to make sure that they know you from somewhere. And these days, we can find you for everything. So get stuff out there that makes you look really good. Have them build online communities, a profile and a blog. So salespeople need to be marketing themselves, because if you don't, when the customer comes in to see you, you can do all the advertising in the world and all the marketing of your products. But I meet the salesperson, I don't know him, from 40 other salespeople, and I'm wondering, who are they and do I care? So if you can start building your own profiles, get your LinkedIn profile needs to be up to date, because you can always say to the customer says, I'm going home to think about it. You can say, well, while you're thinking about it, would you join me on some social media? Are you on LinkedIn? You can find me on LinkedIn. I have a profile on there. Now you're building what? Trust, likability, and somebody who knows you. It's more likely the customer will be back for you. If you don't do that, she'll find somebody else she likes. Or she won't. What happens to our customers? They're not buying from anybody. They just go home. It's like me in the car. I started looking for a car last year. I gave up. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I'll just keep driving this thing till it falls apart. I think it is going to fall apart soon, too. 200,000 miles, got, I think, 200 miles, and I'll have 200,000. I'm thinking, well, okay, we'll just keep going. But because I can't stand going out, all right? Now, here it is. We want to get the testimonials, so you want customers to say, how are we doing? Now, look at the online communities, just so you know. 95% just want quick tips and tricks. That's all we want. We just want to know what you're doing. Give us 5 ways that we can grow a garden this summer. 10 ways to, what kind of spices do I need in my spaghetti sauce? That's all. I want to know you for something, because now you're my friend. And if somebody says, hey, I need to go buy flooring, you say, look, go see my friend over here, the one with the blog, and go read their blog. They write about making pizzas. They must know a million ways to make pizzas. Okay? You can come in. We got somebody hanging around. 5% are conversing and they're active. Okay? How many of you know about meetups? How many of you know what a meetup is? What are you all doing out there? Come on. A meetup is what's on Facebook. It's your online community. There must be, what does it say, 9,000 groups that get together in local communities every day. A meetup, if you go look and you say, listen, I really like ballroom dancing, I like ice skating, what I do is I build statues, I'm into welding. So you look and it'll scroll down through your Facebook and you decide what you want to join, because you want to join something. This is like going out and networking, but now you're going to network with people that you've got something in common with. So maybe you want a bike ride. So you look at the bicycle group, or you're a runner, or like me, I'm at the gym all the time. So I'm always looking for who's at the gym and who's doing what. You want to figure out who you are and how you can connect. You'll build your own group. Listen, you can't have all the customers in the world, but you can have the customers you want if you know who you want, and build it based on who you are. I'd like to say that product is the most important thing in the world, and don't anybody shoot me, but it isn't, because product's all over the place. What I'm trying to figure out is who I ought to buy it from. I've already been online a million times. I already saw everybody's product. Now I'm trying to find the person I like, because here's the thing. You and I all know this. We buy from people we like. I don't care what kind of product you have. If I do not like you, you could be the dumbest person in the world. You all know this, and if I like you, I make excuses for you being dumb. I say, well, she's busy, she's dumb, she lost the paperwork. Oh, that's okay, they lost the code base. They don't know where the marble threshold is. That's okay, they're nice people. You know that. The key is to be likable. You know, listen, I was in business for 14 years with 7 stores, and I had 80 installing groups. And I used to handle installers, and I used to say, these are the people that make my business run. I used to tell the salespeople, you treat them like they're gold. You make sure when they get to the house, the customer cooks them breakfast. I don't care what happens in that house, but I know they are the last people in the customer's house. And the customer's either going to say they are the best people. We can do everything right. We screw that part up, you'll never see them again, right? Never. So you want to make sure you take all these wonderful pieces that you have, your installers. You want to make sure you highlight them. You want to do the same thing with your salespeople, because they're the people that are going to make a difference. When the customer writes that review, She doesn't say it was the most beautiful piece of tile I ever saw. She says when they put, listen, you don't sell tile, you don't sell product, you sell solutions to everything. And you want to think about it, because people can shop product. Customer comes in and says, do you sell tile? I say, well, no, we don't sell tile. What we do is we sell solutions. What is it that you're trying to do? Because if you say I sell tile, she'll say, well, I was over in the Home Depot and I was in the Lowe's and I know it's the same. You know how this goes. It's just stupid. It's the same thing I saw across, isn't this how it goes? It's the same thing I saw across the street. You know it's not the same thing. But what are you going to say to her? No, you're dumb? Because who's smarter? The customer knows everything, right? Everything. You don't want to say to her, just sit down and mind your business, because you don't know what you're talking about. You all know this is how it goes. You want to say to the customer, we really don't sell tile, we don't sell marble. What we really do is we sell solutions. We're going to build you something beautiful. And that's what we do. I mean, you can buy product anywhere. You can buy cheaper product anywhere. But what we do, we're going to build you something that's going to be magnificent. That's what you've got to tell customers these days. And it's going to be only yours. It won't look like anybody else's, because we're in an age of it has to be only mine. Right? You know this. I don't want to look like my next door neighbors. Oh, did she buy that? The minute you say everybody likes that tile, what does she say? Oh, I don't want that. Well, everybody wants to know. You know, we used to talk about good, better, best as a way of selling. When I teach selling now, I talk about good, better, best, and over the top. I say, let me show you something that is so over the top. Customers, where is it? I have to see it. Not everybody wants it, but everybody wants to know they saw it, right? Okay. So think of a social network as a town. And it's an ecosystem. Basically, it has maps, streets. We know where we're going. That's what social media is. You got to know the streets. You have to know where you're going, where you're trying to get, because that's what social media is all about. It's not hard, except you have to figure out how it all links together. We know the biggest search engines are Google and YouTube. Those are the two that are the most important out there. And you've got to make sure that you get picked up by Google. How will you get picked up by Google? By writing blogs. That's what'll do it, because a lot of you have websites that you don't do anything with. See, 10 years ago we told you needed a website. Remember that? We said if you don't have a website, they'll never find you. So what did you do? You hired somebody, spent a whole lot of money, put the website out, and you haven't been there since. And you go, oh yeah, we have one. And you look at it, the letters moved, you notice that one of the numbers dropped off, and something got cut off, but I can't call the guy to fix it, it costs too much money. If you do a blog and you put it out there once a week, it will change your ranking, because Google will continually pick up changes and put those blogs on your website. So you want to be blogging. Now, everyone needs to manage the online reputation. We got a call, a friend of mine I work with, we got a call last year from a judge. Actually, it was the person who handled the judge's campaign, and the person told us that the judge was being stalked online and in the courtroom, and we needed to fix it for her. And I said, well, what do we need to do? She said, well, wait till we show you the videos. So somebody had taken videos of the judge in the courtroom, family court judge, screaming, which she didn't do, and I shouldn't have said she, because it wasn't she, but anyway. And what we did was we had to blog. I just kept blogging and talking about things that she did, and I kept pushing his videos further down, and I put videos all over the place for her. Why? Because I was trying to get to pay attention to something else. But the more we blogged and the more we videoed and the more we created a campaign online, the better it got, because the guy who was doing it couldn't keep up with us. And we had to, because she was up for election, we had to figure out how to get this up there for her. And, you know, she was scared and needed to be scared, because the guy was really crazy. And he was really mad at her for something about child support. He was going to shoot her and kill her. And I said, he wants to kill you. She said, I said, trust me. If he says it online, he probably does want to. We need to fix this. So let's get you fixed. So we just kept putting new stuff up. So now here's the claiming your listings. Claim your listing on Google. It's free. So you want to make sure that your business found here on the left. You want to go out and check all the places that you could be found. You could put that in your browser. Where can I put my business online so people can comment? Put that in your browser. It'll bring up all the places locally for you, and you can go out and claim those listings. And just say to the customer, would you mind putting something out? And again, I'm telling you, the reason a lot of people don't do it, they don't know how. They have to create an account, and they can't how many of you can remember all your passwords? I got pages of passwords. When are they going to let us take our fingerprint? It can't be that hard, right? I mean, I could figure that out, can't we? I mean, put put your fingerprint up, and nobody else has one, they say. So now I can get into everything. No, the minute you forget who you are, then you got to create a new password, and then you forget that one, and then they say, didn't you use this password 3 years ago? I just went to do that. I put in, to get into my computer, it was so funny. Jim was trying to get into my computer, and I said, this is it, spring. He said, aren't you worried about it? No, I won't. I said, I won't remember it tomorrow. I'll just have to change it anyway. What does it matter? You can use it today to get into my computer. But we forget, and then we start using old passwords, and then we finally give up and say, I don't care, I'm not doing it. How many? That man in the back row, I'm speaking to you. He's laughing. He said, oh, that's me. Yeah, it's all of us, right? Okay. So managing your reputation is tied to your branding. You can talk about who you are as much as you want, and it will not matter unless the customer agrees with you. So you're all out there talking about your brand and how big you are and your family-owned. Nobody cares about it anymore. You know why? Because the only thing that matters to me is what he thinks, because he's my next-door neighbor, and I know him, and he's bought tile, and he'll tell me where to go. He's going to say, they're family-owned. Who cares? Who cares? Unless you're doing something that I care about being family-owned. It only means you're old. You've been in business for 100 years. In my book, that means you're just old. I mean, you have to look at a lot of things that we needed years ago need to be kind of updated as to how we say them. Because the only thing that matters is what the consumer thinks. Because 75% of people will not buy anything unless, guess what? Somebody tells them it's okay. There is nothing worse for a woman than have to change her hairdresser. Is there anything worse? We'd rather die than get a new hairdresser. So where do you go? You look for somebody who's got a good haircut. You grab her on the plane the other day. I said, where'd you get your haircut?
I know I have no
she
hair.
says, she says, I live in, I don't know where, Nebraska. I said, I don't care where you live. Where'd you get your haircut? Because maybe I'll go get it cut there. There are certain things we don't like to do unless we're sure, right? That it's good. Somebody has a pair of glasses on. You need glasses. And you go, I've been looking at, oh, those glasses are terrific. Where'd you get those glasses? What kind of phone do you have? Where'd you get that phone? What carrier do you have? All of those things are how we do most everything these days. So if you think about that and put that into your business, you'll understand why you have to fix your online reputation. Because without it, you can't get found. 10 people should say you're the best people in the world. You don't have to run another ad in the newspaper ever again. Particularly if I'm a big mouth. And I know everybody in town, and you have an event in your store, and you invite me, and you say, bring 5 of your friends, and now we have a ladies' night out, and you have a trunk show, and we do all, and if you want to know anything about doing events, just drop me a note. You've all got my email. Drop me a note. I'm finishing this little book called 100 Events You Can Hold in Your Store. Everybody keeps writing me notes about, do a Mardi Gras, do this. I said, I'm going to write a book about it. All right? So, understand the needs of your customer. How long you've been in business, family-owned. You want to say, the reason this is important to you, Mrs. Consumer, is this. Because otherwise, they don't care. The only thing they care about is their next door neighbor and what you think. All right? So, get your customers talking. Here it is. So this person says, thinking about buying real estate, and in hashtag Lake Point, here's where you go. So they're saying this is the place to go. So if you're looking for a house, and you're looking for a particular part of the country, you go on Twitter and you'll find somebody to tell you where. And then you can check that person out and see if they're any good. You can go to their Facebook page. It's all involved. Remember, it's just city streets, just little towns, and all these streets and places to go, and you need to be on the map, okay? Whew. Ramp up your customer service. Customer service is not a department anymore, folks. It is an attitude. So take a look at this. You need to have uniform customer service across all channels, including online. We all know what happens online, don't we? And you see something and you laugh, and UPS has somebody on there going crazy. And the minute you go online, somebody pays attention. I have a customer, and I do a lot of customer service training for them, and I was looking on their website one day, and on Facebook, and I noticed, they're in the tile business, I noticed this customer wrote a really nasty note, and it said, you could have walked the tile to Chicago, and then they had some other little things under there, and I called the chairman of the board as a friend of mine. I said, did you see that comment? He said, no, what are you talking about? I said, there's something not right. So he went and checked, and he called me, and he said, thank you for pointing it out, but we fixed it. I said, you didn't fix it. It's still sitting there with the nasty thing on it. You know, let me tell you how you could have done it. You could have given me the box of tile. I could have gotten on a plane. You had to ship the thing overnight. What did that cost you? $250. I could have been in Chicago with a dozen roses for the guy, the tile, and a smile on my face, and I guarantee it would have been all over your social media page, and he would have loved us forever. I said, do you know who your customer is? He said, no, who is he? I said, he owns 18 Domino pizzas, the guy who didn't have one carton of tile, and he couldn't open on time. Nobody knew that. The people who handled social media never saw it. I'm just nosy, and he's my customer, and I'm looking, thinking, are you losing your marbles? Nice job. Okay, so here it is. 1, create satisfaction is the bottom of customer service. Creating loyalty is number 2, but making the customer go crazy and love you forever is what you need to do. How do you do that? That's called the value added. So you got to start doing some things. Holding events in your stores or your distributor or your manufacturing are the best things to go. Go in and get your customers to come in and have a great event and tell them to bring their friends. And don't show tile, please. Have them come in and buy clothing if they're women. Have them come in and buy jewelry and perfume. What you want to do is get them to what? Like you. And have them bring their friends. Because if I like you and I need something, I say they're likable. They're not the stalkers. I don't think they're bad people. I look, nobody's got a record. I think I want to go there. That's your job. Okay, apply for awards. Now, I don't know, I'm surprised she didn't come. I invited her, but she lives in New Jersey, and her business is called Tile Circle. She's 7 years old, and she just got an award from House, the best customer service. Now, if you take a look at that, and you know that more than 16 million monthly users on House, you do a nice job with that, with House. But you should be applying for these things. Now, in my book, it says I received an award this year. I got a second place award for how-to books. Now, how did I get that award? I applied for it. I sent the book in. Cost me $100. 1 year later, my friend, well, she took care of it, and she said, do you know we got an award? I said, we did? She said, yeah. Well, if you don't apply and you don't go looking for this stuff, you'll never find it. But you need, how about an award like that? She does not have a storefront. She's not building a storefront. She does mother of pearl, little mother of pearl tiles. That's pretty much what she does. But you need to go get those things. Now, this I think is a great quote. If you look at, Bill Gates says that you get more information from unhappy customers than you do happy. If you've been in business over 10 years, my hunch is you should have somebody do a survey of customers for you. Get 100 customers that don't like you anymore, and figure out what you want to know from them. Have somebody call them who does not work for you, please. It is not associated with you. And have them go out and start talking to customers, because you can find out so many things. It's funny, I did this for a distributor a couple years ago, and they found out such things they couldn't believe. They said, what are our competitors doing? What? They're doing what for them? I said, that's what they're doing for them. They said, but that has nothing to do with what we do. I said, yeah, they're just making people like them. But we can do better, I said, trust me. We'll figure it out. I don't know how many of you build kitchens here. How many of you do kitchens? Kitchens? Kitchen? Okay, here's one thing you really ought to think about. Getting your customers to give you a recipe. That the first thing they cook in that wonderful new kitchen. And at Christmas time, send them a book of all your recipes from you. They will love that. And you put a picture of them in your book and a picture of their kitchen. And now you become so nice. I just did this they were just like, customers are going crazy. What a wonderful thing. There's so many fun things you can do that don't cost you a lot of money. All right? Now, you must know what they're saying before it gets all over the internet. And so you've got to make sure you stack the deck in your favor. Have your mother write a note on there. Have your mother go. My sister was in the carpet business, and I didn't join her for 3 years. And when she was first in business, I used to write notes from customers. I would just lie and write her notes. Oh, Miss Calandrino, that was the nicest piece of carpet I ever bought. You're really terrific. And that was so nice of you. And so I started writing her letters, and she would call me and say, you have to come, this business is terrific. And I get these wonderful notes from customers. Now I'm starting to feel really bad because I know I'm writing the notes. So I'm laughing about it, and then my sister, some of you knew her, she died 3 years ago, but she asked me to please come to the house and help me take care of some of her things and put them away. And we were there, and all of a sudden, she takes out all of these letters. Is that mine? I turned it off, and it's still noisy. So she takes out all these letters from customers, and she said, Liz, maybe you should bury me with these, because these were the nicest things that happened to me. I can't believe how nice this was. And I'm like standing there, I'm thinking, no, no, this is not the time to tell her that I wrote the letters. Did you tell her? No, I didn't tell her. She told me. She said, I know you wrote these letters. I said, how long did you know that? She says, I don't know, but this was just a nice thing you did for me. Somewhere along the line, she said, I recognize the handwriting. The days before computers, right? But she used to put them all up over the walls, and she'd have them hung up. And I used to walk in, I'd say, gee, this is really nice. Isn't that nice? And people would read them, right? And you know that. They read them, and they say, isn't this wonderful? It's the same thing we're doing now, only where do we do it now? We do it online, okay? Now, we have something called the customer experience, right? Customer experience management. That is you going out, they're called touch points. And these are the points where the customer gets to know you for something. So you want to figure out what are the touch points. CRM is customer relationship management, and then we have EFM, enterprise feedback management. It's all about you managing what people are saying and making sure after the sale you get this stuff. Here's a touch point. The installer's a touch point. So if you have a store, you want to look at all the touch points. There could be 40 of them. Customer opens the door. Is the place clean? Customer talks to the salesperson. Do they look good? 3, did the customer follow up? Did they make those are touch points. You want to define all your touch points. Make sure everybody knows what they are, and then you make sure they're done right. Because this is how it gets screwed up. Everybody's got their own system. I do it my way, and you like me, and I do a good job. These days, it's almost as if salespeople don't exist unless they start doing a lot of marketing, because what's happening is the customer's not even talking to them, right? Do you remember how little that was? It's all about marketing. Now, social media demands special service. We know 58% of those who've tweeted about a bad experience have never, ever talked to anybody. This means what? A lot of you are doing social media, and you know what you're not doing? You're not paying attention to what you're doing. You're putting it out there, but you're not reading what you're doing. So, is a term used to describe the broad spectrum of online communication. 5 ways to bring the customer closer: hold events. Have a Valentine's party. Have a Love Your Customer. Have an Oscar event. Have the Academy Awards in your store. Why not? Here's what I think. This is what I think. I don't think anybody's done this, but I have this idea. How about having a Customer of the Year award? It could be for the Oscars. So you can call up 15 of your customers and say, you have been nominated for Customer of the Year. Now, the event's going to take place in our showroom. We're going to do the Oscars night. We're going to roll out the red carpet for you. We'll put red carpet out. And so you're going to have to get people to vote for you. Do you think you could get your neighbors to vote for you? And do this. Can you imagine? Your customers are going to laugh first, but it's going to be really fun because you're going to invite them in. You're going to have food. You're going to take pictures. You're going to plaster it all over. A friend of mine did this for Parents of the Year. She creates these events, and she has Parents of the Year. And it's like her 3rd year. The first year, 8 people came. Now she had 400 this year. I said, you're like nuts. She said, Liz, this is what people like, because she does radio show and a TV show. I said, oh my God, yours is so terrific. So create an event and make your customers part of it. Want to raise money? Make your customers help you raise money. Want to wrap presents for Christmas? Bring them all in. Make them wrap presents. Do all these fun things. What you're trying to do is get the customer to what? Love you and tell all her friends when she needs something to call you. Customers are bypassing letters. No letters, no phone calls. People don't even answer their emails anymore. A lot of you know that. Customer service is an asset to your company. Customer service is getting those touch points, getting those letters out. Holding events are what customer service. Check your social media during the day. Find out what people are thinking about. Make sure that people in your store get to check. So I had a guy say to me, Liz, I owe an apology to a woman in my store because I cut the cord from her computer. She was on Facebook, and I didn't know what she was doing out there. This is 5 years ago. I don't know what she was doing out there, but I figured it wasn't any good. She was up to no good, so I cut the cord to her computer. But now I'm going to go back and buy her 2 new computers and get her back on Facebook. Now that I know she was writing on our page was what she was doing. Okay, so there. The key to your business is after-sales management. Remember, 85% of your business is referrals. 85%. So if you're not getting people to talk about you, you're losing out. After the sale is the part where you get these people. Have them post, have them talk about you, have your salespeople call them, send them thank you notes, send them a gift if you want. there's a cute little program online called Send It Out Cards. Does anybody use it? Send It Out Cards. Does everything online for you. You can mail them from online, you can put a package of seeds, or you could send them a gift. Everything gets done online. You can get it done in 3 minutes. And it's written, looks like your handwriting. You can get it done in your handwriting. So lots of touch points are what you need. Standardize them. Where do you start? Start online. Customer finds you online. This is the first touch point. Second touch point, she comes into the store. What is your store like? Is there a place for her to sit? Do you offer anything to drink? Is there a place for the kids to play? These are all the pieces. And I would never talk about installation. It is never installation. It is only custom installation. And custom installation gets you more money than installation. Even when I was in business, we never. Customer says, you do installation? I said, oh, we don't do installation. She says, you don't? I said, no, we only do custom installation. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, you mean the guy down the street does installation. What's he charge? Oh, no, we don't do that. We do custom installation. Get somebody to get a little haughty. We just do custom installation. You do want that. Customers, what are they going to say? Of course I do. Of course they're going to pay more for it. Well, yeah, Home Depot does installation. We don't do that kind. You just stand there and look at them for a minute, and they'll get it straight. They'll understand. You know that. It's the stare down. Referred customers, they're 50% sold, by the way, and they're more likely to refer friends, and they pay higher prices. That's why you want me to love you, because my friends aren't going to quibble with you about a nickel. We call this virility of a business. It's one way you measure. So if you're doing social media, you need to measure. You've got stats, you can look at them. Retail brands, 57%. Consumer brands, 43%. Notice consumer brands at the bottom, they're higher. In other words, when a consumer says, I love you, and sends it out over the internet, notice how many more people focus on that. They're more interested in what the salesperson says, what the customer says, than they are about the store. Because it's all about what I think, not about what you want me to think. We need an engagement. It's like a playbook. It's a social media strategy. You're out there looking for comments. You're flagging the ones that need to be answered. You're thinking about who should I talk to? What are these people like? People are afraid to get Facebook friends. Oh no, I'm only going to get friends I know. No! Anybody who wants to be your friend, friend them. Because I probably know somebody. When people ask me to be friends, I always I go to the page and I try to see how many people they know. If they know 100, 200 people, I want them to know 2,000 or 3,000 if I can. If I can't, make sure you get everybody who's in the news media gets to be your friend on your page. So go out and friend all the news in your town. Because they always need something to write about. So get them on your page. All right? Measure what matters. We have lots of metrics you can use. And sometimes you can't, I say to people, do you get anything back from Facebook? And they go, I don't know. Well, I say, do you measure it? Well, I don't know. Do you get anything back from LinkedIn? Well, I don't know. You've got to measure and find out if you get anything back. How you'll know is when a referral comes in and says, how did you find me? Your salespeople should be asking that question. Did you see us on Facebook? Oh yeah, my friend is one of your friends. Social media, that's another thing. You're going to have to figure out what you want your salespeople to say online. And nobody knows, you just want to tell them, please don't be drunk online, whatever. Please try not to have your clothes on, Same kind of things you would like them to do in any kind of situation. But I think this is a whole new field where we are trying to figure out, what do we let people know, right? I write, it's all about communication, and if you go to the Times-Union, look up Success and Calandrino, you'll see I write about it a lot, the kind of things that I think maybe would work. So remember, salespeople are your most important product. They are your most important product. They connect with the customers, they do all this stuff, and yes, you may have really good products, but they have to figure out what? How to put it together, how to use it. And you sell, I just tell them you sell solutions. You don't sell products. Products, you get products any place. That's not us. We got to put it together. When we put it together, then it's going to look like something. Today, and it was so funny, Jim said to me, I have your presentation, and I said, no, I have a new one. He said, well, when did you change it? I said, this morning. This morning I was listening to CNN, and I was listening to Mark Parker, the CEO of Nike. And they were trying to bait him. They were saying, did you know you have all these competitors out there, all these new people from China, you've got people from Paraguay, and this woman was really trying to bait him. And he didn't go for it. And this is what he said, which I thought was interesting. He said, focus on the distance between you and your potential, rather than the distance between you and your competitor. I thought that was such a great quote, and I really want to leave you with that. And if you want to find me, you can look at some of my tools and things, and I have books for sale and whatever. But thank you very much. Friend me on Facebook. Join me on LinkedIn and whatever. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you again. Questions?